I am Giacomo Degli Antoni. I am a professor of economics at the University of Parma and Department of Law, Politics and International Studies. Immediately after completing my PhD, I carried out a postdoctoral fellowship in Econometica, that is an inter-university center for economic ethics and corporate social responsibility, and this represented a relevant formative stage for me. Actually, currently, I am working on behavioral and experimental economics with a particular interest in understanding motivations for human actions that go beyond self-interest with specific reference to economic context. The steering committee is essentially in charge of the project governance. Therefore, it is responsible for coordinating and monitoring the various project activities, avoiding also overlaps and ensuring continuity and consistency throughout the project. The steering committee also works in collaboration with other committees, such as the monitoring committee and the technical committee. Yes, recently I, along with other researchers, had the opportunity to work with data collected through a survey administered to a representative sample of Italian households. This was very relevant for me, that I in general carry out empirical analysis. If I had to summarize the main results of our study, I would highlight two main aspects. First, we found that the vast majority of respondents were reluctant to consume cell-based meat, although their consumption intentions were more favorable towards cell-based meat than, for example, insect-based products. Also, by analyzing our data, we provide new evidence that two aspects, such as technological beliefs and trust in science, positively influence consumption intentions concerning cell-based meat. Second, we found that providing information about the European Union's marketing authorization process for novel foods affects positively individuals' willingness to consume cell-based meat, and this obviously represents an important aspect in terms of policy indication. Yes, as I mentioned in the previous answer, we found that the knowledge of regulatory procedures, specifically the marketing authorization process for novel foods, has a positive role in promoting the consumption of cell-based meat, and this represents an important, I think, indication from a policy perspective. In fact, our findings suggest that targeted communication could help promote sustainable foods innovation while also supporting the coexistence of novel foods and traditional products. I have several research projects that will deal with different topics and issues, but regarding food and food policies, I would like to investigate how different types of information on food labels can influence consumer behavior. In fact, we know that recently sustainability-related labels that concern aspects such as animal welfare or environmental impact have proliferated. However, the point is that expanding labels to include environmental, social, and climate-related information, or also information about the effect on working condition and so on, raises questions about consumers' priorities, what consumers are more interested in when they buy a product, and there is the risk of information overload, which can lead to adverse selection and also cognitive biases. This highlights the need for further investigation from this perspective.